because I've been waking up a lot earlier, I've been able to now spend a little bit of time reading a lot more of the messages that I'm getting, and I'm seeing a trend, especially right now, deep into Q4. It is prime hiring time for a lot of these companies, and the question that I'm getting is, how often should I be following up, and does the process really just take this long, or am I not a part of it anymore? And that's really kind of a tough question and a tough answer, because it really goes a lot of different ways. The biggest bit of advice that I can give you is to not take your foot off the pedal. I did that. You guys saw it in my journey. I was in multiple interview processes, and it gets tiring. I understand it. I was there. So I understand how tiring it gets to learn all of these different companies, how to ask like certain questions, building up that just interview muscle and going one after another, and trying to, put your best foot forward every single time. And then you start getting deeper into these interview processes and things start kind of dragging out a little bit longer. And I can tell you from experience and just recently going through it again, once you get to a certain phase, things are going to start slowing down, especially when you start getting to those final interviews. And you, at this point, I can completely understand how you can feel just so thrown off by the lack of communication coming back your way. But firsthand, I have now seen it, been a part of it, and was a part of it previously. These things, especially in Q4, are like bottom of the barrel priorities. I know that the acquisition is there and you're scared because there's probably a lot of other people applying for that role, but you have to understand that when it comes to medical device, pharmaceutical, biotech, and tech at that, especially for me, those are all industries that have high turnover, as well as just a plethora of people applying for these roles. And on top of that, they have some really high sales expectations. So these managers that are interviewing for these roles, they also have a lot of stress on their shoulders of making sure that they're gonna hit quota. And right now in Q4, so it's currently November of 2022, so the questions that I'm getting asked is during the Q4 timeframe, but you also have to remember, we've got Halloween, which is not a holiday, but a lot of these people have kids, so they are, one, working a ton, and so they're gonna spend some time with their kids during this Halloween break. Then they've got Thanksgiving, then they've got Christmas. So you have all of these things falling all within Q4, and you're expecting them to prioritize you. I get it. Like, it's an open role, you're applying for that job, you want it, but you're not a top priority right now. Does that mean that you're at the bottom and there's another candidate that has a better shot than you? That's another possibility, and what sucks is the longer that these acquisitions stay open, the more chances there are that somebody knows somebody that can get them into that interview process, and then suddenly you are now not the top candidate, somebody else is the top candidate. And that happens all the time. I've seen it happen, and it's happened to me. So my biggest advice that I can give, just like I've been saying before, is you can't take your foot off the gas pedal. You still have to continue to interview with other companies, other prospects, and start leveraging where you are in those situations to let them know that you might be getting a job offer here pretty soon, or you already got a job offer and you really want this opportunity with this company. So is there any way that we can move my last interview forward? Is there any way that I can get an answer from you right now? You are applying for a sales job, so you also need to sell yourself. That is one of the biggest components of this entire interview process, is the fact that you're going to be selling yourself throughout the interview process to every single person that you meet. And it's just so funny that the more and more people that keep reaching out to me, they keep telling me of all of these continuous interviews, whether it be with the same manager, whether it be with the manager's friend in a different division, to like a different director, to another director. Like, it's ridiculous how long some of these processes take, and you have to take that into consideration on the company that you're going to. You got to think about that. Look at how long the process was just to get hired, and they're telling you that there's all this room for growth and opportunity within the company, but like, you have to take all of that with a grain of salt, because look at all the things that you're having to go through just to get that entry-level role. Now think about if an opportunity opens up because a local rep leaves and you're wanting to get that position. What if that happens in like 3 months? you're not ready for that role, and they're gonna pull somebody else in, maybe off the street or somebody from another division or a different area that's willing to move to your location. I live in Austin, Texas. Everybody wants to move here. So if there's an opportunity for them to come here, they're going to definitely apply for that job. And if I'm not ready to basically get promoted into that role, who are they going to hire? I mean, I'm already hired, but they're not going to promote me. I don't know anything. So me being you, essentially, because you just got hired. So you got to think about those things as well. Like right now, you are in job hunt mode and you're looking for that next role, and you really want to land the one that, you know, hopefully it's whether it be with Stryker, Medtronic, Smith and Nephew, just like all of these big box brand companies, but you're leaving so many other opportunities with smaller companies just out there on the wayside that move so much faster. A lot of these other companies, like you'll interview with a recruiter, then the hiring manager, and then possibly that hiring manager's manager, and that is it. And then you're gonna get a job offer. And if you've already been interviewing through all of these processes, you should feel very comfortable talking about yourself, talking about your background, having basically an elevator pitch for this certain situation, and you should be able to get into that role. But going back to the original piece of me just having extra time to start answering some of these questions, the thing about it is it's a common theme that I'm seeing, and it is exactly what it is. It sucks. Like, you guys are going to be interviewing and it's an entry-level role. They're gonna have a stack of resumes. Just be excited that you actually got into that interview process, because that means that you at least did better than probably 100 other people. But when it comes to the actual follow-up and doing all of those things, that is definitely like a key priority that you need to be focusing on. Because if you are not doing those follow-up actions and you're not trying to get that person back in front of you, and you're not trying to take like action for next steps, that's basically showing them that you are not like ready to be in sales, essentially. Even if it's an entry-level role and it doesn't require a sales background, you need to be hungry enough that you're going to be reaching out to these people pretty consistently, and not being a pest, but also just making sure that you're not falling off to the wayside. That is showing them that you have the tenacity and the grit to really just get into this process. And I feel like that's a lot of an area that people can improve on, and this is where a lot of people are failing. As I'm now having conversations with CEOs and C-suite people because of the position that I'm in, and seeing some of the interview processes that are going through in the background where I'm working, that's one of the key things that got me where I'm at right now. They definitely told me on multiple occasions, like, your level of follow-up and how you kept us in action on next steps and checking in on those next steps, seeing if there was something that I could do to better facilitate those situations, all of that stuff. They all basically like gave me so many kudos around that situation. And I want to say that that's a huge reason as to why I got the role that I'm in right now. And at the same time, why I've gotten plenty of other roles that I've applied for is because of that follow-up and trying to do that next action piece. This is, again, Q4 for a lot of people. And if you're catching this like at a random time, like half a year from now or something else, this is still applicable for that current time frame. If you are not doing those follow-up actions and you're not trying to figure out a way to put yourself back at a top priority of their list, then you will fall to the wayside. Somebody else is gonna take your spot, and they're gonna be the ones that people remember the most. And at the same time, you just can't be afraid to take it to the next level, be assertive, ask for the job, and see what it is that you can do to take it to the next step that very same day. It's those things that they're looking for within this interview process, especially when you're face to face with somebody, because how you interact with them is how you're going to be interacting with physicians, office staff, basically everybody that you come in contact with. And that is what they're looking for. This is your only opportunity to shine. So make sure that you are doing all of those steps and just keep your head up, keep grinding, and you're gonna get there soon.